Hey, what's up? We are back for Free Advice Friday. So, I know there's another big live stream going on right now, or I'm assuming it's still going on right now with Roaring Kitty. So, for any of you who may be jumping over to this channel from that channel, I thank you very much, although I know that's not actually happening. But for those of you who are playing GameStop right now, how's that working out for you? I got to tell you, I was tempted. I was tempted last week to buy some, but then I decided, no, this probably isn't a good idea. And I think that probably ended up being a really, really smart decision. But we are not here to talk about stuff like that because I don't have any good advice to offer on stuff like that. What we are here to talk about is the business and marketing side of voiceover and getting those business and marketing questions answered. That is what I am looking forward to doing with you guys today. That is what we're going to talk about here for the next little while. And I want to start out, though, very quickly by referencing the latest episode of the podcast. I was so excited to get this interview only because I knew that it was something that every single voice actor needed to hear. When I am picking guests for the podcast, I'm always trying to pick guests who are going to drop actionable, practical advice on the community. That's obviously the whole mission of the podcast. But I recognize that, when I bring on somebody like Christy Bowen to talk about e-learning, I know she's going to be dropping value bombs, but I also know that not everybody does e-learning, so it's not necessarily relevant to everyone, and that's okay. I bring on Sean Allen Pratt. Guy delivers a masterclass on audiobooks, but I know not everybody does audiobooks, although I will say you should listen to that episode anyway, because there was tons of practical advice on acting. So I recognize that certain guests will appeal to a certain part of the audience, but my guest for this week's podcast will appeal to every single voice actor who listens to the Everyday VOpreneur podcast, because he is a voice actor who happened to take voiceover marketing playbook. That was a sheer coincidence, just to be clear. But he did happen to take voiceover marketing playbook, and he took the things that he learned in playbook and he applied them to his own voiceover marketing. And what ended up happening was one of the companies that he was marketing to decided to bring him on as their talent director. So he now works not only as a professional voice actor, but also as the talent director for a production company building their roster of voice actors. This is a guy who's sitting on the other side. This is a guy who gets to see our marketing messages. This is a guy who gets to see what we are pitching. This is a guy that gets to see what we're writing in our messages. And so he is giving us the producer's perspective on marketing. Now, if you haven't had a chance to listen to this episode yet, it dropped yesterday. It's right here on the YouTube channel. That's the thumbnail that you are looking for. The producer's perspective on marketing. Jeff Savage talks about what he sees in marketing from voice actors, the good, the bad, and the otherwise. He's going to tell you what you're doing right. He's going to give you some clues about what you're doing wrong. He is going to talk about areas where you could probably do things a little bit better. But my favorite part is he's going to drop some knowledge bombs on you that are going to totally blow up the way that you think about your voiceover marketing and how it is perceived by the producers. Because I can tell you right now, voice actors, by and large, have a very negative perception of how their marketing is perceived. And he's going to blow that up for you. So check it out. Go do it. Look, go to the YouTube channel. Here it is, right here. What producers think of marketing and other tips for voice actors. Go do the thing. Listen to that episode. Put it on your list for this weekend. You are absolutely going to enjoy it. You are absolutely going to learn some things, some really, really positive, really helpful insights. Nevin says it was a great interview, Mark. Well, thank you very much, Nevin. I'm glad that you listened, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Lots of good stuff in there. Lots of good stuff in there. So that's what's up on the latest episode of the podcast. So go and listen. Value bombs. It was a great conversation to hear. There you go. And of course, not only is it available on the YouTube channel, if you prefer to listen to the audio version, it is available wherever you enjoy podcasts as well. So Apple Podcasts and, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, whatever, all the places. It's available in all the places. So what's up for Free Advice Friday? What do you guys want to talk about on Free Advice Friday? What questions can I answer for you on Free Advice Friday? I would love to take some time to answer your voiceover business and marketing questions. If there are things that you would like to ask and get answered, this is your opportunity to do it. Go ahead and type your questions into the comments. If you could just do me a favor and just put a Q beside it when you're typing your question, it just makes it a little bit easier for me to see as the questions start coming up in the chat there, because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So if you have a question, don't be shy. What can I answer for you on the business and marketing side of voiceover? Mike says the casting director episode was so awesome, gave me so much inspiration to continue with direct marketing, even if I don't get any response right away. You know what, Mike? Here's a story for you, just to try to encourage you a little bit. A couple days ago, I had somebody reach out to me on LinkedIn. This is a contact that I made I would say in the winter of 2022. We had some back and forth communication at that point in time when the connection request was made. And, they said that we love your stuff. We'll keep you in mind. We'll, all that sort of stuff. It was an e-learning company. They mentioned that they do use voice actors from time to time, but they didn't have a need right now, but that was okay. They'd keep me in mind. Over the course of the last year, periodically I would try to drop a comment on something that they did or whatever, and just, keep doing what I'm doing. They reached out to me earlier this week and said, "Hey, Mark, you may not remember, but, we got connected a little over a year ago. I've been following along with you for the last year on LinkedIn. So all that content that you're creating that you think is pointless, all that content that you're creating that you figure nobody's actually paying attention to, well, they were following along with my content. It was keeping me top of mind with them for the last year. And now probably next week, we're going to have a meeting to talk about an e-learning opportunity." And so, yeah, sometimes you're not going to hear things right away because maybe they don't need you right away. But that doesn't mean that they might not need you in 3 months. It doesn't mean that they might not need you in 6 months. Doesn't mean they might not need you in a year. Our job is just to keep putting ourselves out there, staying in front of people, doing the thing. That's it. That's the job. Stay in front of people. Make sure as many people are hearing your voice as possible. But it's really encouraging to know this stuff is working. I'm telling you, the stuff that I'm teaching, it's working. April says, "What's been your success on marketing to advertising agencies, and who actually is the buyer in an advertising agency?" So April, I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't really do a ton of marketing to advertising agencies because I'm not a big commercial guy. I do some commercial work. It's primarily on the local and regional level. Yes, I do have a couple of agents that I audition for commercials for. But because commercial is not really my primary focus, I am generally not targeting advertising agencies a whole lot myself. However, if I was going to be targeting advertising agencies, I think I would probably be looking for creative directors. They're generally the ones that are kind of overseeing and putting the pieces of the puzzle together, potentially the ones that are going to be making decisions about that sort of stuff. And every once in a while, it's very possible as well that you're going to reach out to an ad agency and they're going to say, "We don't actually do the voiceover. We're not actually responsible for the voiceover. We work with a production company for that." When you get that response, that's an opportunity for a follow-up. "Hey, thank you very much for that information. Is there any particular production companies that you guys enjoy working with? Maybe I'll reach out to them, and if you happen to have a name or a referral, I would certainly be open to accepting it." Never know. They might tell you exactly who to reach out to. All right, let's see. Deborah says, "When you want to send a follow-up email in a week or two after the initial email, what should the second email say?" My follow-up is short, sweet, and to the point. It's literally just bringing that original message back top of mind, asking whether or not they had an opportunity to listen to the demos, and asking whether or not there's any other questions that I can answer for them. That's basically the gist of it. But yeah, really simple, short, sweet, to the point. And I have said for years, I get far more responses off of that follow-up message than I usually get off of the initial email. Because when the initial email drops, maybe they intended to respond. Maybe they forgot. Life is busy. There's a lot going on. And maybe they got distracted. Maybe they started doing something else, whatever. And so just having my name pop back up in their inbox again, they're like, "Oh yeah, I meant to get back to that guy." And then they respond. And so that's why a follow-up strategy is such a big part of what I'm doing. So again, welcome to Free Advice Friday. Uncle Roy watching, Nevin, who else is here? Dion, Mike, Summer, thank you for watching. Deborah, Sean, hello, everybody. Thank you guys for jumping on the live stream. I certainly appreciate you hanging out. If you are enjoying the live stream, if you are getting your question answered, or if you are appreciating the answers to some of the other questions, do me a favor and hit that like button. Do you aim to max out your LinkedIn connections every week, the 100 limit, or do you aim to spend more time focusing on quality over quantity? Yeah, I mean, my goal is to just get good connections. That is my goal. So are there times, and keep in mind that my days look a lot different now than they did a few years ago. So what I mean by that is a good part of my day now is filled up with coaching sessions and working with other voice actors. And so I have less time to devote to my own marketing now than I had before, but I also don't need to devote as much time to my own marketing as I did before, because I have a client base now. And so part of my job now is just maintaining that client base and making sure that there's always some new, fresh people coming into the mix. So a few years ago, was I trying to max out connections? Always. I was trying to get as many people into my network as possible. Now, if I can send 25, 30 connections a week, that's great for me. Because here's the other thing. When I send those connection requests, I'm paying attention to see who's accepting those connection requests. And when a connection request gets accepted, I want to be able to send a personal message to that person who accepted my connection request. If I'm sending 100 connection requests a week, even if I'm only getting a 60% acceptance rate, that's 60 people every single week that I now have to go back and send a personal note to and try to have a conversation with. And for me, where I'm at in my business, that's not sustainable. But if I can do 25 or 30 a week, that usually works for me. If I get, 15 or 20 of those accepted every single week, I can go back through and I can contact those people, maybe have a conversation with some of those people. And so it makes my life a little bit easier. So I think part of it just depends on where you're at and what your available time is. But obviously, the more people that you can add into your network, the better. And the quicker that you can do it, the quicker that you can grow. But you also have to do what's sustainable and manageable for you. Good question. Brian says, I've got a personal LinkedIn page plus a page for my VO business. Posts from my personal page get much more engagement than posts and reposts from my business page. Is the business page even worthwhile on LinkedIn? This is a really valid question because I'm in a similar situation. So if you look at my personal profile, and I want to make sure I don't get the language mixed up, but if you look at my personal profile on LinkedIn, I have just under 7,000 followers on my personal profile, which is, that's a decent amount of followers. If you flip over to my business page, and I'm just looking here right now, I got 220 followers, right? So look at this. There it is right there. 220 followers on my business page. Come back over here. Just under 7,000 followers on my profile. So why in the world would I want to share content on my business page when I get far more engagement on my profile? It's a valid question, but I think there's a couple of things that you can take away from that. First and foremost, the percentage of people who are on my company page are this much compared to, this much on my profile page. So I'm not worried about sharing duplicate content. So if I share something on my profile, and then maybe a week later, I decide to share that over on my company page, I'm not worried about, the same people are going to see it twice or whatever. That's not a thought that goes through my mind at all whatsoever. The other thing that you have to take into consideration with your LinkedIn company page, if you ever decide that you want to do LinkedIn ads, those LinkedIn ads will run from your company page. They will not run from your personal profile. So what I mean by that is when those ads appear in the LinkedIn feed, they're going to appear from your company page, not your personal profile. So if you are running these ads and people are clicking through on these ads, if they decide to click through and go to your company page, are they going to find a company page that hasn't been updated in 5 years? What kind of impression does that send? And so I think for that reason alone, there's a use case to be made for occasionally popping something onto your company page. What I would say with the company page, and I say the same thing about a Facebook business page, treat it like a living resume. All of the regular content we'll say, the stuff that I'm really hoping my audience is going to engage with and that I can get some good organic reach on, all of that sort of stuff I'm going to post on my profile because it's where it's going to get the most eyeballs, obviously. But anything that's voiceover related as far as projects I've been working on, new demos I've got, upgrades I've done to my studio, testimonials from clients, things of that nature, that's something that I would absolutely share in both places. Hope that answers your question, Brian. Let's see. I've started narrating audiobooks under a pseudonym. I don't know where to start with marketing. I have a second website and mostly booking on ACX, but want to eventually work with a publishing house. I mean, really, you're just doing the exact same thing that you would do. You're just doing it under a different name. So if you've got the secondary website, that's already part of it. I would make sure that I've got a secondary email address set up and that email is reflective of the pseudonym. If you decided that you wanted to do social media, in theory, you could set up some secondary accounts. Keep in mind that like LinkedIn, for example, you're only allowed to have one account on LinkedIn, so you wouldn't really be able to set up a secondary LinkedIn account. But you could set up a secondary Instagram. You could set up a secondary X profile if you wanted, or a TikTok or whatever. But yeah, the big thing I think would just be, if you've got that secondary website, having a secondary email to go along with it, and then just treat it the same way that you treat your business, just under a different name. And a lot of voice actors do that. Mark says, is there still an advantage to having an agent or multiple agents as an extra tool in your toolbox? 100% there is. Agents are still going to give you access to jobs that you are not going to get access to on your own. Now, are agents seeing as many jobs as they have seen in the past? I think that we could probably make an argument that at least some of them are not any longer. But even if they're seeing access to fewer jobs, they're still jobs that you and I are not going to go out and get access to on our own. I think if you are working in the commercial space, particularly if you want to work at a higher level in commercial, you know, the bigger regionals, the bigger brands, getting into the nationals, you're going to want to have an agent. I think if you want to do animation at a high level, you got to have an agent. If you want to do gaming at a high level, probably got to have an agent. If you want to do anything broadcast related, promo, all that sort of stuff, you're going to want to have an agent because those jobs are still going to filter through the agents. Now, is that something that has changed over the years? Yeah, it absolutely has. But I still think that agents are a valuable tool to have in the toolbox. The other thing I would say is think beyond the auditions. I have an agent, one agent in particular, who offers some value-added services to her clients, the people that are on her roster. So let's say that I go out through my own direct marketing and I land a really cool commercial opportunity on my own. But it gets complicated because of the various usages. And so I want to have an agent help me to negotiate that rate. I can have my agent do that for me for a flat fee. Or let's say that you go out and you land a really cool job, but it's got a really long contract that you're just having a hard time understanding. With one of my agents, for a flat fee, I can have them look at that contract and help me determine whether or not it's good or if there's anything that I need to get changed. So that's something else to consider. Now, not every agent offers services like that, but some of them do. And so that's a value add that just means that, you know, it adds another level of value as a team member. I've got no power, so you have my undivided attention today. Look at that. I will keep you updated of any extreme weather alerts if you need me to. Just let me know. What cadence do you recommend for following up with prospects by email? I don't want to come off as a spammer or annoying. Hey, Mike. So first thing I'm going to suggest that you should do is listen to this episode that I was talking about at the beginning of Free Advice Friday. You can go back and find it on the YouTube channel or on the podcast. It's the brand new episode that just came out today. This is actually one of the things, it's one of the questions that I specifically asked Jeff. I specifically asked him about the follow-up and whether or not the follow-ups are perceived as annoying. And he gave a beautiful answer to that question. So for me, I'm trying to stay in front of my main clients and prospects every 30 days, if at all possible. That does not specifically mean that I am emailing them every 30 days. It just means that I'm trying to get in front of them every 30 days. So sometimes that might be via email, but sometimes that might be by dropping a comment on something they've shared on LinkedIn, or dropping a comment on something that they've shared on Instagram, or dropping a comment on something that they've shared on X or YouTube video or something like that. So there's more than one way to get yourself top of mind again. And so that's something else that I would keep in mind as well. Last week, I had a local producer tell me he liked my website and demos, but he only hires VO talent with an agent. I'm not represented. Ever heard of this? Could this be a nice way to just say no thanks? I would say, I mean, that's not common. I don't think it's common, but I wouldn't say that it's completely unheard of. For some producers, particularly if they're operating at a higher level, or they're operating with a higher tier client, or they're doing higher end work, it might just be easier for them to work through an agent. Negotiating with talent, contract negotiations with talent, rate negotiations, all that sort of stuff. Not every talent has the ability to do that well. Some do it better than others. It might just be easier for them from a business standpoint. I'm just going to work with agents because this is what agents do. So that's a possibility. It could be that they just work with agents and focus on union talent. Also another possibility. So I wouldn't read too much into it. Hey, Mark, where would you recommend looking for radio imaging leads? LinkedIn, and what positions do you think I should go after? I mean, I would probably be looking for program directors or production coordinators, production managers would probably be the ones that I would be looking for. I think probably a production manager. There's possibly even imaging producers when you get into some of the larger groups. Radio stations are conglomerates that own multiple radio stations. That might be somewhere else that you would look. Imaging can be tough to get into. I have one imaging client left that I've been working with for, I don't even know, probably 6 or 7 years at this point now. It's not something that I pursued a lot, just because I saw what was going on in radio and the changes that were going on in radio, but there are still some opportunities there. Yeah, I would say program directors, production managers, production coordinators, possibly imaging producers in a larger group. Why switch to the SM7B from the glowy web mic thing? Joe Rogan fever so I got the SM7B a while ago. The HyperX, which was the glowy microphone, it just didn't sound great. It was okay, but it didn't sound great. Then I went out and bought a bunch of new gear for doing live streaming. I bought a stream deck, I bought some lights, I bought a Rodecaster Pro 2. And so then I bought a Rode Procaster mic because I thought, well, I've got the Rodecaster Pro 2. I'm going to go, why not go with the Rodecaster or the Rode Procaster microphone? And to be honest, I didn't like the mic. It's got, I had 3 pop filters on it. So it has 2 pop filters built in internally. And then I had the external pop filter on it as well. And it was brutal. Every P, every B, every T, like every single thing, it just popped like crazy and it drove me insane. And I had taught a masterclass. I think it was when I taught my LinkedIn masterclass, the updated version of my LinkedIn masterclass back in February, maybe that was. And I had taught it and I was using the Rode Procaster. And after the class was done, I went back to edit the video version, to put the video version online. And the audio was so garbage that night I ordered the 7B. It arrived the next day, and then I retaught the entire LinkedIn class just so that I could get a better audio version that I could post on the VOpreneur platform. So I've been using the 7B for a while now. And this is I use this just for my live streams and my Zoom calls. I'm not recording voiceovers on this. I do use it when I do my podcast now. It's good enough to do my podcast, but the booth is right there. So the U87 and the 416 are still in the booth. What is the title of who I should be reaching out to at a university? I guess it depends on what you're reaching out to a university for. I do commercials for some universities, and I'm working with marketing directors. In the past, I have done sports spots and sports videos for universities. And so then I was working with somebody in the sports department. I have also done e-learning at the university level, and I've worked with instructional designers and e-learning developers on some of that stuff. So there are definitely opportunities at the university level, but the person that you would specifically be reaching out to, I think, would depend a lot on the type of work that you're going for. And think about with universities, yes, there is e-learning content that is being created, a lot of e-learning content, more e-learning content being created all the time at the university level. But e-learning, it's not just e-learning. There's also a lot of commercial work that gets done. Universities are running commercials to talk about their programs, to try to get new students to sign up. If they've got football, basketball, baseball, etc., they might be running commercials to let people know about the latest game or when tickets are going to be available or whatever. I had one university that I worked with for probably about 3 years, and through the baseball season, I was doing spots every week, and it was almost like an automotive deal. But it was just whoever was coming to town for this week's game and when the tickets were going to be on sale and what the special promotion was going to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a bunch of different opportunities on the college and university level. What are your thoughts on adding other voice actors on LinkedIn? I tend to try and add more voiceover talent on Instagram, as I was told having other voice actors on LinkedIn can affect the algorithm. 100% accurate. 100% accurate. The LinkedIn algorithm is going to look at the people that you're connecting with. And based on the people that you are connecting with, it is going to start to make assumptions about who you would like to be connected with, but it is also going to make assumptions about the kind of content that you would like to see. So if you are building your network with other voice actors and you are continually engaging with other voice actors on the platform, the algorithm is going to be like, oh, I guess they want to connect with other voice actors and see content about voiceover. So I'm going to build a feed for them that recommends other voice actors and recommends content about voiceover. And that's not just true of LinkedIn, just to be clear. That is true of any platform. If you go onto Instagram and you hit the search button and the random grid pops up of everything, that's what the algorithm thinks you're interested in. So when I click my search button and it's filled with barbecue, it's because I look at a lot of barbecue. My search button is filled with barbecue and books and motivational quotes. And that's because that's the stuff that I'm looking at. And so that's what Instagram has realized. Oh, this guy wants barbecue and books and motivational quotes. So you do have to be careful. I think you do have to be strategic about how you're building your networks on these platforms. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't or shouldn't connect with voice actors, obviously. But you do have to think about, what is my purpose for this platform? How do I want to use LinkedIn? If your goal is to use LinkedIn as a source for connecting with producers who are creating corporate videos, but you're filling your network with other voice actors, but you're sharing content about corporate videos, the algorithm is going to be like, what the heck does this guy want? Like, they're not going to be able to, it's not that it's not going to figure it out, but it's going to be a tough sell. But if you are spending time every day sending connection requests to video producers and engaging with content from video producers and talking about corporate video and sharing samples of your corporate videos, the algorithm's going to be like, oh, this person seems to be interested in video production and corporate videos, and so let me give it more of that content and let me give it more of those types of recommendations. Because the other thing you have to remember is these algorithms are designed to keep people on the platform longer. So if it's giving you content that you want to see, the assumption is you're going to stay on the platform longer. And the longer that you stay on the platform, the more ads that they can ultimately push to you. So keep that in mind. Guys, if you would give me one moment, I want to tell you something. I've put together a special deal for you. So this week I taught my brand new class called Content Compass. And this workshop went just awesome. My opinion may be biased, but there were 3 main components of this workshop. First and foremost, I taught you how to build an idea generating machine, like how to just come up with ideas like crazy. Then I taught you how to do it in bulk. So now we've got ways that we've got subject matter that we can build ideas under, and now we're going to learn how to build ideas in bulk. And I was showing strategies for how you could very easily, I'm talking like in an hour, you could come up with 50 or 100 pieces of content that could keep you posting consistently on social media for the next year. And then the final part of the workshop was teaching you how to build a very strategic and targeted campaign. So let's say you wanted to go after a very specific genre, a very specific client, or something like that. So that's what Content Compass is. It's about a 1-hour class. And then there was a Q&A opportunity during the live stream as well. But that class is now online at VOpreneur.com. But here's the deal. For watching Free Advice Friday, if you look in the description for Free Advice Friday for this live stream, there's a link. If you click that link and buy Content Compass by the end of the day today, you'll save $20. So if you want to buy instant access to the recorded version of Content Compass, which you could watch this weekend, and trust me, you will get ideas from this class. Click the link in the description to this YouTube video, to this live stream, and it will give you an instant $20 off coupon, but you got to sign up by the end of the day today in order to get that savings. So that's something special that I put together for you. You can, again, look in the description for the YouTube video, click the link, and pick up your copy of Content Compass. It was a really fun class to teach, and feedback has been really, really positive as well. So definitely one you might want to check out. If you have ever said, I don't know what to post on social media, I don't have any ideas, this is the class. This is the class. Ryan says, is there a ratio goal of marketing email to prospect? For example, 100 emails sent and maybe 2 responded positively. I realize follow-ups make it a hard metric. So I'm looking for a 10 to 15% response rate at a minimum. So if I'm sending 100 emails, I'm hoping that at the minimum, I'm going to get 10 prospects out of that. Now, that for me would include follow-up. So let me rephrase that then. So if I send 100 emails and the subsequent required 1-week follow-ups, by the time I have worked through that cycle, I want to see a minimum of 10 prospects, 10% conversion. I think that if you are sending really good emails and you are targeting the exact right people and you've got kick butt demos on a kick butt website, I think it's entirely possible to get that number up even higher. I think you can get that number up to 15, 20, even 25%. But I would be looking for a minimum of 10, minimum of 10%. It was a great webinar. Thank you, Liz. Hope you're feeling better. Check it out. Look in the description. Adrian says it was a great seminar. He said he got 3 months worth of content from that 1-hour seminar. That's what he told me. Adrian was one of the ones that wrote a testimonial for me. So there you go. Check the link in the description. Sign up for that. Save $20 on it if you sign up by the end of the day. Let's see. What else? Matt says, if we attended last night, are we going to receive the recording? You already have it, Matt. You already have it. I haven't had a chance to send the email out, but you already have it. Anybody who did sign up, if you log in at VOpreneur.com, you already have access to the video recording. What else is going on? What else can I answer for you? If you have a voiceover business or marketing related question that you would like to ask, feel free to type it into the comments. If you put a Q beside it, it just pops up on my screen and makes it a little bit easier for me to see. If you're enjoying the live stream so far, do me a favor, hit that like button. I would certainly appreciate that. I feel like it should be reasonable to have an equivalent number of likes to viewers on the live stream. So hit that like button. Penelope says, it looks like my comment cues aren't going through. Okay, well, feel free to type them again if I missed them, Penelope. I do apologize. Oh, here's one. Here's one. I noticed many production companies state they typically only use Voices or Voice 123 for VO talent. How do I respond? Should I not market to them anymore? So yeah, I would say I wouldn't market to them anymore because there's not really any purpose in marketing to them anymore. But what I would say, if you have a profile on either of those sites, and keep in mind that you can have a free profile on Voice123 and you can have a free profile on voices.com. So you don't even have to have a paid membership. If you have a profile on either of those sites, I would respond back and say, hey, that's great that's where you've chose to source your voice acting talent. I just wanted to let you know that I do have a profile on Voice123. Here's a link to my profile. And if there's anything that you think I would be a good fit for, feel free to send me a direct invitation. Because with a free profile on both platforms, you can get direct invites. So if the client just goes on and posts an open casting and you have a free profile, you're not going to get it. But the client can invite you directly to audition. Now, I can't promise you that it's going to work, but it's certainly worth a try. So that's the strategy that I've always taken when somebody tells me that. Let's see. What else is going on? And if I did miss your question, don't hesitate to type your question again. There's a lot going on in the chat. I try to keep up with as many of the questions as possible. Just scrolling back through here to see if I've missed any other ones. But yeah, don't be afraid to type it again if I did miss it. I do apologize. Looks like I got most of the other stuff that was coming up. What else is going on? What else can I do for you? Let me tell you about this. If you haven't downloaded this yet, go download this. VOpreneur.com/ I spelled that wrong. Testimonials. Oh my goodness, I need to fix that graphic. I just noticed that. Okay, so it's actually VOpreneur.com/ testimonials, but testimonials is spelled correctly, not like it's spelled on the screen. That's embarrassing. Anyway, go to VOpreneur.com/ testimonials, and you can get the VOpreneur Guide to Testimonials. It's a free guide that you can download, and it is going to give you some tips and tricks for how to collect testimonials and how to use those testimonials in your marketing. It is one of the most overlooked aspects of direct marketing. I liken it to when you go onto Amazon. If you go onto Amazon and you're thinking about buying something off of Amazon, you're looking at buying a widget or whatever on Amazon, one of the very first things that you are going to do in most cases, or at least one of the very first things that I do anyway, is I look at the reviews. I want to see what is being said in the reviews. Are the reviews any good? It's one thing for the person who's selling the widget to tell me it's fantastic. It's an entirely different proposition when a person who bought the widget is telling me that it's fantastic. It is the exact same thing with your voiceover marketing. It's really easy for you to say, yes, I'm great. My voiceover services are great. I can do this and this and this and this and this. It's an entirely different proposition if you've got testimonials from clients, people who have actually paid you for voiceovers saying, yeah, no, they're really great. And so I think that it is absolutely essential that you are collecting testimonials and that you are using those testimonials in your voiceover marketing. And so in order to help you to do that, I put together this handy dandy guide, the VOpreneur Guide to Testimonials at VOpreneur.com/testimonials. So you can head over there, you can click on it, you can download it, and you can start implementing testimonials into your voiceover marketing right away. Absolutely worth it. Absolutely positive strategy. 5 stars, do recommend. And look at that. While I was talking, I went through and corrected the graphic with the proper URL. I am a multitasker. Did you guys know that I was in Canva rebuilding a graphic at the same time that I was talking? There it is. VOpreneur.com/testimonials. All right, let's see what else is going on. Mike, can you say how much of your work comes from booking auditions versus just being given work through direct contact? I will be honest with you, Mike. I definitely do not have to audition nearly as much now as I have had to audition in the past, and that is part of that is just it's a product of working with clients, clients who are familiar with me, clients who know what I'm capable of. Now, yes, I still do have clients who send out auditions to 10, 15, 20 different voice actors on the roster, and so I submit some of those auditions. I still do that regularly, yes, but the vast majority of it now is, hey, Mark, I got a project for you. Hey, Mark, can you do this thing for me? And it's kind of nice, actually, to be able to do that. Lunch with Marc Scott, 6:20. We are getting close. We are getting close. Uncle Roy's coming to Canada. If they let him in, we're going to go out for lunch. I don't know where yet, but we're going to go out for lunch. Can you go into working with a manager and an agent and what that could look like? I know they may be one and the same or they may be different. Rachel, why'd you got to go there? Okay. If you look at the legal definition of an agent and a manager, agents are supposed to be responsible for getting you auditions. Managers are supposed to be responsible for guiding your career. So they are supposed to be two distinct purposes. Now, an agent might be responsible for a manager might be responsible for getting you representation from an agent, but technically speaking, managers are not supposed to be giving you auditions. That's how I understand it from the research that I have done on it. That is not specifically how it works. So the way it seems to work in voiceover now is you have agents who give you auditions and they take a commission based on the jobs that you book with them. And then you have managers, and many of the managers, and there's only a few now, but many of the managers that are doing this, they are taking a percentage of every dime that you make. So let's just say that you make $100,000 let's just say you make $100,000 this year and you signed with a manager. You may have to give that manager $10,000 for doing absolutely nothing for you because they're taking a commission from every dime that you make. Now, they may bring you new work, they may bring you new auditions, but they don't generally just take the commission off of the work that they're getting you. They're taking the commission off of everything. I personally had a problem with that, which is why when I was given the opportunity to be represented by a manager, I said thanks, but no thanks. Why in the world would I want to give them 10 or 15% of everything that I'm making on my own from clients that I've spent the last decade building up? I had no problem giving them a percentage of what they brought in, but they wanted a percentage of everything across the board. So that's the one thing that you have to watch out for. Maybe watch out for is not the right word. That's one thing you have to be aware of. So that is, that's kind of the big picture of manager versus agent. Some management companies may be able to provide you with additional services for contract negotiation. They may be able to provide you with additional services for rates negotiation. They may be able to provide you with legal help if you ever found yourself in a situation where you needed it. They might be able to manage some of your bookings, taking care of project management and stuff like that. It depends. Not all agents seem to provide the same, or not all managers seem to provide the same level of service. So that's something that you would want to look into as well. What is the best way to use testimonials other than putting them on your website? Well, Deborah, you should download the guide because I give you some tips in there, VOpreneur.com/testimonials. But one of the things that I like to do with them is turn them into graphics that I can use across social media. And so that makes for really good content that I can share on LinkedIn or on Instagram or on X. So yeah, putting them on your website is good. I think that putting them into social media graphics is good. I think including testimonials on your LinkedIn profile can be really good. I think if you have different profiles on different sites, that can be a testimonial, can be a good thing. It's kind of like having a review. I would even go so far as to say that you could put together a sheet of testimonials so that if a new client's thinking about working with you, maybe you want to forward them some more information about you, send them off a list of testimonials. Hey, if you guys are enjoying the live stream, please do me a favor, hit the like button. I'm going to sit here and stare blankly at the screen until every single one of you hit the like button. So this is going to be really awkward for the rest of the show if you're not going to hit the like button. I'm just kidding. I'm going to keep going, but I would love it if you hit the like button. Samantha says, I've heard arguments from industry leaders both for and against using a personal note in a cold marketing email with good reasons on both sides. Your thoughts? Personal note, 100%, all the time, every time, end of discussion. And if you don't believe me, listen to this episode with a producer who receives our voiceover marketing emails, who answers that very specific question. But yes, I am all about personal notes. I want the emails to be personal. When I am reaching out, I want the emails to be personal. Yes, you can write generic messages and you can blitz them to as many people as humanly possible. And there is the distinct possibility, courtesy of the law of averages, that if you send enough generic messages to enough people, you will ultimately get some people who will respond. That just feels like a really bad strategy to me. And keep in mind, that's a strategy that I tried before I had any idea how to market. And when it wasn't really working that well for me, that was one of the catalysts for me to say, maybe there's a better way to do this. And then I went and figured out what it was. So the way that I teach in Voiceover Marketing Playbook is writing personalized notes. And yes, you are not going to be able to do it at the same scale as if you are sending generic messages, but I want quality over quantity sometimes. And if you want to know more about that, Voiceover Marketing Playbook is coming out in July, a couple more weeks. Go to voiceovermarketingplaybook.com, sign up to get on the wait list. voiceovermarketingplaybook.com. Sign up to get on the wait list. I'm going to give you a free marketing guide that is called 6 Simple Marketing Tips. And you're also going to get notified when Playbook comes out. I'm going to tell you about an exclusive pre-sale offer that will not be publicly advertised. Only people on the wait list will get told about that exclusive offer. So you may want to check that out. I don't have a need to be popular on social media with likes and a lot of followers. I don't feel it's important to follow influential pros. I just want to work. Am I shooting myself in the foot? Man, I'm not that popular on social media. I mean, all things considered, I'm not that popular. I don't have millions of followers. I don't even have tens of thousands of followers. On some of my social media, I probably got dozens of followers. I don't even know. But that's not what I'm doing it for. I'm not sharing content to be popular. I'm sharing content to be present. I'm sharing content so that when people need voiceovers, they see me. When people do searches for specific types of voiceovers, hopefully some of my content comes up and they're thinking about me first. Because sometimes in those instances, it's not the best voice actor that they're looking to hire. It's just the one who's there, the one who's present, the one who's available in the moment. And so that's why I use social media. It's not about it being a popularity contest. It's about it being a tool to help me grow my business. We love the live stream. Go hit the like button. Well, a few of yous went and hit the like button, but a few more of you definitely need to go hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well so that you get notified whenever I'm going live. You don't want to miss out. Mike Smith says, have you seen any benefit to content creation like videos, clips, etc.? You said they are a good idea in the content creation class, but I'm wondering about the return. Yeah, I definitely have seen. And I shared an example in Content Compass. When I started working on my short form videos, my YouTube shorts that I'm doing to demonstrate some of my documentary reads, when I posted the second video, I had somebody reach out to me about a documentary opportunity. So I definitely think that there's value. I think it depends on what you're doing. It depends on what you're doing, how you're doing it. And also, if you're getting it in front of the right people, that makes a difference as well. If you're going to create content just for the sake of creating content, it's probably not going to work the same way for you. But if you're also going to create content for a couple of weeks and then get frustrated when it's not working and then walk away, it's definitely not going to work. I've been on some of these platforms for years. I've been building an audience for years. I've been building a following for years. I've been building consistency for years in order to see some of the results that I've been seeing. And so that's the other side of the equation. It's not just, hey, let me create a few videos, throw them up on social media, wait for the work to come. Now, can you create the right video, throw it up on the right platform and have it go viral? Yes, that is still a possibility on TikTok. It's still a possibility on Reels. It's still a possibility on YouTube Shorts, but it's not the long-term strategy. The long-term strategy for me is to create good content consistently over time. And if I'm doing that in the right way and getting it in front of the right people, then hopefully some of them are going to want to hire me. That's what my thought process is. All right, let's see. Don't tell me what to do. I do what I want. Oh, crap. I thought I was doing Free Advice Friday with voice actors. I didn't know my kids were watching because that's what my kids always tell me. Oh, we got jokes. We got jokes. All right. What else is going on? What else can I answer for you? I got to tell you about this, guys. I'm doing a new webinar with VA for VO. This is a free webinar, okay? Free webinar. It's going to happen on the 18th. Now you got me. Now I got to think about it. I'm pretty sure it's on the 18th. A few weeks ago, we did a webinar for working professional voice actors who are needing a little bit of extra help in their business and might be interested in hiring a virtual assistant. This new webinar is going to be the other side of that equation. Are you a voice actor with skills that you could monetize as a virtual assistant? Maybe you're good at email marketing. Maybe you're good at lead generation. Maybe you're good at CRM management. Maybe you're really good at social media or video editing or audio editing. If you have those types of skills, it is entirely possible that you could build a side hustle income for yourself working as a virtual assistant. And in this webinar, free webinar, we're going to tell you how. Go to VOpreneur.com/VA for VO webinar. VOpreneur.com/VA for VO webinar and sign up to watch that and learn how you could turn your skills into a side hustle income. It's going to be a really, really good one. Okay, let's see. What am I missing? Is it okay to use positive audition feedback from casting directors, agents as testimonials, even if you don't book the gig? I would certainly want to ask permission first. And the way to do that is if you submit an audition and the casting director or the agent or the client or whatever wrote back and said, Jane, that was an incredible audition. You did such a good job. You sounded so conversational. You know, unfortunately, this time the client went in a different direction. You could write back and say, hey, thank you so much for the feedback. Would you mind if I used your comment about submitting a really awesome conversational audition as a testimonial on my website? If they say yes, you're good to go. But I would definitely want to ask first. If you're going to quote somebody, I definitely want to ask first. And to be clear, I've done it. I don't know that I've ever had a client say no. So, because I mean, unless they're lying to you when they write you back and they're like, oh crap, I just said that to be nice, but I don't actually think that you're any good. But, you know, hopefully that's not happening. Marketing of Fridays, yes or no? Yeah, man, I know everybody wants me to say no because nobody wants to market on Fridays. What I will say is this. Anytime you have an opportunity to get yourself in front of another potential buyer is a good opportunity. And that could be on a Tuesday, it could be on a Thursday, it could be on a Friday, and it could be on a Sunday morning. Would I sit down at my computer and actively crank out 20 direct marketing messages on a Friday afternoon? Probably not. Would I create social media content and engage with my audience on social media on a Friday afternoon? 100% I would. So I think it depends on what your definition is. But I would say if you're talking direct emails or direct cold calls, after lunch on Friday, I probably wouldn't bother because most people have already checked out. I'm also not a big fan of sending a lot of emails first thing on a Monday morning because often people are trying to get back into the office, trying to get back into the groove, and trying to get caught up on whatever they need to get caught up on to get ready for the rest of the week. So I'm not saying I won't send marketing emails on a Monday. Of course I will. I have. I'm saying I probably wouldn't do it first thing Monday morning. So are there taboo times? I wouldn't specifically say there's taboo times, but I do think that there are ways that you can be a little bit more strategic about what you're doing when you're doing your marketing. We know you are the man for marketing, but who have you trained with for performance? I've worked with JMC in the past. I've worked with Ann Ganguza. I've worked with Everett Oliver. I've worked with Dave Walsh. I've worked with Tom Pinto. And all of them have been amazing. I've coached with Roy. I did a couple sessions with Cliff Zellman in the past. Name the name. I've worked with a lot of them. I'm actually thinking about working with Brad Hyland here maybe this year. And thinking about going back with Tom Pinto again. I worked with Tom Pinto for an entire year to get ready for my documentary demo. We did for a while, we were doing one session a month. Towards the end, we were doing 2 sessions a month while I was trying to get ready for that demo. I worked with Ann Ganguza for several months on e-learning a couple of years ago, and that was when I was already making a crap ton of money doing e-learning. So I'm always working with people and looking for somebody to work with. All the good top talent, and I'm not saying I'm a good top talent, but one of the common themes that I have noticed among top talent is that the coaching never stops. I would go so far to say, and look, don't quote me on this because I don't want to get outed. My podcast is part of my training because I get to have conversations with some of the coolest people in the industry. And I get to ask them sometimes the questions that are on my mind. So sometimes that's a form of training for me, just like it's a form of training for you. You guys listen to the podcast and you learn from listening to the podcast, right? Me too. Why do you think some of those people are on the show? All right, where are we at? 157. Don't forget, Content Compass. Look in the description of this live stream. Click the link and it will instantly give you $20 off the replay for Content Compass. That is good until the end of the day. When you are done this 1-hour workshop, if you do not have a notebook full of ideas for what you could do on social media, I will eat my left foot. Don't make me do that because I am not that flexible. I would fracture a hip. I would dislocate my knee. But that's how confident I feel about what was taught in that course. So there you go. Content Compass. That's what you're looking for. If you go to VOpreneur.com, you'll see it there. But if you want to save the $20, that's an exclusive offer for anybody who is watching Free Advice Friday. It's only good until the end of the day. Click the link in the description of this video and it will instantly apply the $20 savings. All right. Anybody got one more question? And if I missed your question, I apologize. I feel like I was getting everything. Let me just kind of look through here really quickly. Hit that like button. Thank you. Thank you for hitting the like button. Lauren says, have you figured out a way to incorporate the sequences feature Nimble just added into your email workflow yet? I have not, Lauren. I did sit in on a webinar with Nimble about a week and a half ago to learn more about sequences and start to understand. I had a pretty good idea how it was going to work, but I wanted to see exactly how they were going to integrate it. So I definitely took some notes. I probably am actually going to go back and watch that webinar again as well. But I am very much looking forward to trying to get that implemented, because so the use case that I am looking at, that I'm thinking about, when I send my initial introductory email, that email is a personalized email, so that cannot be automated. But the subsequent follow-ups, to a degree, could be automated. And so that's an area where I might use sequences. So rather than sending the introductory email and then setting a reminder for myself to go back and send a follow-up a week later, I might try and automate that through sequences, so that the reminder, or so that the follow-up email goes out on its own a week later. And then if I still don't get a response, then another follow-up might go out a week after that or whatever. So that's the use case that I'm looking at. I just have not had a chance to play around with it yet. But for any of you who have bought my Nimble course, when I do get a chance to play around with sequences a little bit more, I will probably make a video about it, and I will add it to the Nimble course. So any of you who have signed up for that previously, you will get access to it, and you'll be able to see how I'm using it and playing around with it. Hey, again, just a quick reminder, Playbook coming out July 9th to the 12th. I've never released it in July before, but I've been encouraged by a lot of people that I had to bring it out again. So I'm going to bring it out July 9th to 12th. It's a short release window this time because it's summer. Everybody's busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. But if you want to get on the wait list and get notified of an exclusive pre-sale offer that will only be made available to people on the wait list, sign up now at voiceovermarketingplaybook.com. You're going to get a free marketing guide when you sign up, and then you will be the first to know when Playbook comes out again in July. All right, everyone, I got to jump out. Thank you so much for watching, as always, for your questions, for hanging out. I certainly do appreciate it. Hopefully it's been helpful. You've learned some things and you've been encouraged and inspired to move forward in your voiceover career and in your business. Don't send those marketing emails this afternoon, but don't be afraid to make some connection requests on LinkedIn or put some posts up on social media. That's a good way to market on a Friday afternoon. Whatever you're doing this weekend, have fun, stay safe, and as always, go find some leads.